Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here for our second ever town hall on the actual date of the 1 year anniversary of this office. So very, very exciting stuff. I'm going to be getting things started. So we'll go through just some community agreements. If you've been to one of our meetings before, these will be familiar to you. We're just asking folks to be present, compassionate, generous, and brave. So there will be time to ask questions. But keep yourself muted when you're not speaking, listen to others, be respectful, all of that good stuff. We'll keep reminding folks of these throughout the meeting. And then you can also take a quick peek at the agenda. Pretty standard. We're just going to do the presentations and then Q&A. And you should have received or heard a notification that this meeting is being recorded. That's so that we can share the presentation on YouTube so that people who weren't able to be here and who aren't going to be able to come to one of the later in-person meetings will be able to still see and receive the information. So as Debbie asked, the Q&A is going to be alternating between people with raised hands, asking questions out loud and pulling questions from the chat. And so if you're throwing questions in the chat during the presentation, I'll do my best to scroll back and find those during the Q&A. Okay, and then I am going to pass it off to the Alderwoman. Take it away.
Thanks, Audrey. Thanks, everyone, for being here. I want to first acknowledge my team who incredibly, we made 1 year today. Last year was our inauguration day. And we've done so much, and I can't wait to share all of the information with you in the next hour. And we'll get through the presentation and take at least 30 minutes to answer all of your questions. But this isn't the only avenue where you can have your voices heard. We're absolutely available to you. I am also personally available to you. So please contact the office if you need to. We're on Bryn Mawr, 1129 West Bryn Mawr. And just know that's really the work of our office every day, is being available to you. I want to take time to read our mission statement. And thank you, Audrey, for recording this meeting too. The mission of the 48th Ward office is to serve the communities of Edgewater and Uptown by equitably delivering government services while preserving and enhancing quality of life for all residences. We are dedicated to fostering a more just society guided by principles of anti-racism and inclusivity, where every individual, regardless of race, ethnicity, sexual identity, class, citizenship status, religion, history, with our justice system or gender, is valued and respected. Rooted in service, joy, and empowerment, we strive for a community where everyone has access to the opportunities and resources necessary for success. Our commitment to co-governance drives our vision of a vibrant and equitable 48th Ward and a stronger, more unified Chicago. We're really proud of everything that we have done in the last year, especially around housing and healthcare, including alternatives to policing, especially in times of mental crisis. We have fantastic partners that we work with all the time in our office and across the city, including Trilogy and all of our partners in the chambers of commerce across the 48th Ward, Andersonville, Edgewater, and Uptown, and every single neighborhood group, which of course highlights our fantastic block clubs, which go from Devon Street all the way into Uptown around Argyle, and then from Andersonville to the lakefront. And all of this just points to the community that we have built in this ward since its existence. So I'm really proud to continue that work with you all and to see each other as partners. So again, thank you all for being here. I just wanted to highlight a couple things that we're really proud of that we've accomplished in the last year, which includes the work that I'm doing on the committees that I serve on, Clean and Affordable Buildings Ordinance through the Environment Committee. We've been working really hard to make sure that the new arrivals are getting all that they need And we are fighting to make sure that they also have housing, so that they can continue on and lead independent and fruitful lives here in the US, just like my family did when they moved here decades ago. So we're pushing back to repeal the 60-day shelter limit. We know that in Edgewater, we're challenged by climate change. And so we are also proud to help establish the Chicago Shoreline Advisory Board, working with Chair of the Environment Committee, Alderwoman Maria Haddon in the 48th Ward, and the new Department of Environment. In the 48th Ward, we have so much abundance here, including our transit. Our public transit is fantastic. We have the Red Line, we have the 22 Clark, we have the 36 Broadway, we have the Sheridan 147, 146, and on and on. But we know that the CTA is really, really lacking in leadership right now. And this is something that we didn't just discover this year. This has been a long time coming. And so I did sign on to an ordinance which is going to be introduced next week in City Council to call on leadership to do something about what is the plan moving forward with the CTA and who should be in charge. So that is coming next week. We again sponsored 25 ordinances, 12 resolutions, and 4 orders. We sponsored a resolution to acknowledge our fantastic constituent, Tom Skilling, who recently retired. And we just want to give him a wave. We all love you, Tom Skilling, and we wish you a happy retirement. We have serious issues in the 48th Ward, of course. Not only housing for everybody and healthcare, including those who have mental crises, but we also want to address infrastructure, because that is part of our public safety, our sidewalks, our streets, and our transit. And so one of the things that we want to address across the 48th Ward and also throughout the city is speeding. So I did sign on to an ordinance to reduce speed limits. And in the 48th Ward, there are 2 places in particular that we passed ordinances to reduce speed limits, which includes Ardmore from Broadway to Sheridan and Winthrop from Ainsley to Sheridan. And we know that the public way is for everyone, and that includes people who not only drive, but also who walk and ride their bikes, or who roll because of disabilities. Everybody, no matter where you live in the 48th Ward or how you get around, deserves safety when we cross the street and there are too many or ride the bus or use their cars. There are too many instances, especially on Broadway, where safety is a public issue because of speeding. So I'm really proud to have sponsored that. Health and safety is always at the top of everyone's minds. So the next slide will show that our plan focuses on coordination and collaboration across government agencies, community-based organizations, and neighbors. And if you were with us at our last public safety town hall, you would have seen many of us together, including the head of security of Chicago Public Schools there, Jadine Chow, also representatives from the state representative Kelly Cassidy's office to show us what we're doing at the state level to make sure that everybody is safe, including those who have experienced domestic violence. But also, I just wanted to point out that we are coordinated with the new coordinated Office of Safety, which is provides opportunities for us to work with DFSS, to work with our CAPS offices, to work with our libraries and our schools to come together, especially in times of crisis. We're focusing on the youth, of course, especially in light of the gun violence that has happened in the ward. And we need to make sure that they are getting what they need, including the youth programming that they absolutely deserve for after school and for summer. So we're really excited to be working with those who have been in spaces to prevent violence from happening, including our CAPS officers, and also our faith-based organizations, including those in Andersonville at the Philadelphia Church, and to get them funds and resources that they need to create their youth drop-in center, which has been in the works for a very long time. We're excited to get back online the Broadway Armory, which is a fantastic facility. If you've never experienced any programming there, I highly recommend it. The senior center has always been open throughout the last year when it was being used as a temporary shelter for the new arrivals. But we are in earnest. We are very excited to have the grand opening next month in June, and also to have the youth space reactivated. I'm also going to jump ahead just to acknowledge that we are looking for young people to also partner with us, and you'll hear more about our youth activation with Connor and Angel Ruby Navarijo, who's not joining us today. But absolutely, if you're a young person, we would love to work with you. We're working closely with our partners to the North Loyola campus to also ensure not only that the students are safe, but the neighborhoods surrounding the university are getting resources. There is a space on Granville right by the Red Line, which we are going to open up and share space with them, with our CAPS officers and the 24th District police officers, to allow violence interrupters to use that space for more youth activation. And we thank One Northside and Communities Partnering for Peace for all the work that they do in that space. We're working to ensure that youth across the city of Chicago have opportunities to work. And you'll hear more about our internship program later on from our Chief of Staff, Nicole Granicki. But youth employment, we're really proud to say that we've increased summer youth employment by over 4,000 young people this year, for a total of 28,000 jobs. And we're proud to support the Teen Opportunity Fair at Truman. There were on-the-spot interviews and same-day job offers. And we saw our own manager of the Broadway Armory there, Mike, who was offering jobs to young people at the job fair. We're also working with the Chicago Park District for a summer job recruitment opportunity at Sen. Again, Chicago Public Schools is very important to us. We have our neighborhood school, Sen High School, and then our elementary schools all across the ward. Choose to Change is a program at Sen, which really is a mentoring program for our young people, especially for our young men. And it's a program that addresses long-term goals, not just when crisis happens, but throughout their experience through public schools. So we're really grateful to know about this program to bring it to Sen. We have Becoming a Man at Uplift, which is also another mentoring program. And we have Safe Passage at Swift, which we instituted this year. And so we actually, that is already up and running. That is something that the community absolutely was advocating for, probably for a long time, but in light of the tragedy that happened recently, we work with public schools and also our Department of Education to make sure that that Safe Passage program happens. I want to say that I'm really proud, of course, with all of the collaboration that we have been doing all across the ward with every single issue. Our constituent services is at the top of mind for everything that we do. And we are able to do that because we have a fantastic team. So I want to acknowledge the team that's here, and also our director, who is not here for public safety, on Hill. But with that, I want to pass it off to Nicole Granicki, our Chief of Staff, And I welcome you to stay because we have time to answer questions at the end of this presentation.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here this evening. My name is Nicole Granicki. I'm the Chief of Staff in the 48th Ward Office. My pronouns are she, her. First slide, Audrey. So as the Chief of Staff in this office, my role is to support and invest in our team so that they can better serve you. This winter, we hosted a staff retreat at the beautiful Colvin House. There, we discussed our mission, which the Alderwoman read at the top of the meeting. We also agreed on office values, which you can see here on the slide, and we talked about our priorities as an office. We've also been focusing on manager training. I recently facilitated a 4-part management training for our team to give everyone the tools they need to support our interns, volunteers, and our staff. We have a fantastic staff. We have a fantastic intern and volunteer program that's up and running. So far, we've had 11 interns go through our office. The majority of them are coming from Loyola University and Arupe College, which is a 2-year college that feeds into Loyola for first-gen college students. We've also had CPS students come through our internship program, and it's really been a joy mentoring these young people in their professional and academic journeys and to see them thrive. We actually have one of our former interns currently working in Washington, D.C. for Congressman Quigley, and we have another who is now a professional soccer player on the team in Portugal. So today on our 1-year anniversary, we're rolling out a new initiative for staff, giving everybody the opportunity to once a year volunteer at an organization of their choice. We're encouraging staff to choose an organization in the 48th Ward or an organization that serves the 48th Ward, like Care for Real or Centro Romero or so many of the great nonprofits here in the ward. In addition to this volunteer opportunity, we've always offered professional development opportunities for our staff. And we have also been doing remote Fridays ever since we opened the office, which is a staff retention initiative. So you probably know that our staff are working on Fridays. They're on phone and on email, but they do have the opportunity to work from home to allow them to recharge. So I'm proud to say a year in part thanks to these initiatives, we've had no staff turnover in our office over the last year. Which is no small feat for a ward office and something that we're proud of. Next slide. Something else that we're investing in our office is technology. We've been working to modernize board technology so that we can work efficiently and thoroughly, and we're starting to see results from these efforts. So back in summer 2023, we connected with alders that we knew from neighbors were known for their high quality customer service. And we found out that they had one thing in common, and that was a CRM tool called Airtable. So we brought in an Airtable consultant to build us a customized CRM that is specifically designed for handling neighborhood services requests. They had done this for other alder offices, and we had them come in and build the same thing for us. And when we look at the numbers, we can really see the impact of these efforts. So when we look back at 311 requests closed in 2023 compared to 2024, over the same time period, there is a 26% increase, and that's in part due to this modernizing of board technology, allowing us to be more efficient and handle larger volume. In addition to Airtable, we've contracted with Zoom to modernize the phone technology that we're using here in the ward office. Zoom phone allows us to pick up the office phone from anywhere, even when we're out in the field, even on remote Fridays. And it also allows us to track helpful statistics. So in 2023, we were hearing from y'all that sometimes you were calling our office during business hours and we weren't picking up. I looked back at the numbers and I could see that 80% of the time we were picking up the phone before it went to voicemail, but 20% of the time it was going to voicemail. That number was not good enough for us, and we set a goal of 90% of the time wanting to pick up the phone before it hit voicemail. And we made some changes on staffing to make sure that we could hit that goal. And I'm proud to share that so far in 2024, we've picked up the phone 94% of the time before it goes to voicemail. And in April, it was 27% of the time. If your call does go to voicemail, know that it will be returned in the next business day if you leave us your contact information and your question. Next slide, Audrey. So another opportunity I've had here in the 48th Ward office in my role is the honor and privilege of being the point person on our new arrivals mission for our office. At the citywide level, we've been hyper-focused on work visas and housing, and we're starting to see significant progress made. When we started, as y'all will remember, there were people sleeping in our police stations, thousands of people sleeping in our police stations and airports. And as a city, we were able to get people off of the streets and into shelter. And now we're getting people out of shelter and into permanent housing. So you can see some of the numbers here from the citywide efforts and the visa work that's been going on and the resettlement work and those leases that are being signed and folks moving out into more permanent housing. At the local level, we have been incredibly proud about how our community stepped up in really inspiring ways to support new arrivals in the 48th Ward. We've had neighbors hosting families in their homes and their houses of worship, collecting essential items like coats and suitcases, and hosting fun events for our new neighbors and their families. Between August and April, our office convened regular meetings with nonprofit, faith, and community leaders to identify gaps in the city services being provided and to coordinate grassroots supports for our new neighbors. We had an estimated 50 local organizations participate in this effort, and we met 15 times and put together over 30 different initiatives. There are way too many people to thank and way too many initiatives to name, but you can read all about them on our blog, on our website. And I chose just one photo here to have on the slide, which as an example, it's our hats and hot chocolate event that took place at the Edgewater Library. I believe this was the first hats and hot chocolate event, and then this event actually took place all across the city as well. The new arrivals shelter, as we know, in the 48th Ward recently closed, but the work hasn't stopped, and we continue to welcome new arrivals in Edgewater and Uptown, as we always have. The city, at City Hall, the Alderwoman is continuing to advocate for resources and transparency around the new arrivals mission and an end to the 60-day eviction policy. Here at the hyper local level, we're continuing programs that were started like Snacks for Swift and the Chinese Mutual Aid Literacy Program. We also have a city key event coming up in June at the Smiley Center. And I continue to hear about different initiatives that were made possible by the connections and relationships that were built during these meetings. Moving forward, we're planning to meet quarterly with our community-based organizations, and the first quarterly meeting is taking place this Friday. Next slide. We are excited to share that Parks programming is returning to the Broadway Armory. There are currently facility improvement projects going on at the Armory. There has been some leaking issues, so they're working on indoor tuck pointing, they're working on painting, they're varnishing and waxing the floor. Working on a number of improvements that had been in the pipeline for a while, and now they're getting around to. There's going to be an open house June 8th that I want to invite everybody to at the Broadway Armory, 11 to 1 p.m. to see the space with the new improvements. And then on June 10th, the parks programming officially returns, the fitness center will reopen, and the teen center will reopen. Later this summer and in the early fall, we're going to see the Jackalope Theater returning to the Broadway Armory, and we're also going to see new partnerships popping up. One is already in the pipeline with the Chicago Metropolitan Sports Association, and we should expect more as well in the future. Next slide. With that, I want to pass it over to my colleague, Connor Hart from our Neighborhood Services team.
Hi, I'm Connor. I'm the neighborhood service coordinator here at the 48th Ward. Thank you all for being here today. So I just wanted to go over a couple of the events and the things that the constituent service and neighborhood service team has been going over. Um, First, for our community events that we've had this year, recently we had the public safety town hall, and that was at Sen High School. It was a good turnout, but we could have certainly had more people there. We're looking forward to hosting those in the future, but hopefully you can make it out there. The Older Adults Resource Fair, we had 32 confirmed organizations that were coming and 40 actually showed up. So we had more organizations than we actually had RSVP'd. So definitely the word got out there. Special thanks to Edgewater Village and other organizations that showed up. That was great. We have a lot of things coming up like the Argyle Night Market, um, electronic meds and recycling. There's going to be another one that will be posted in our newsletter coming up for the food scrap drop off. That's a new initiative in the city. The 48th Ward does have one at the Ward Yard, and it is open. I've gotten a bunch of emails or questions about it looks like it might be closed. They closed the gates for vehicles, but you can still walk in. They have an open gate that'll get you right to the garbages over there at the Ward Yard. Other than that, we just look forward to having more youth and a youth advisory council. But the big events that we're going to be doing again this year are the Argyle Night Market and the farmers markets that will all be coming. Argyle Night Market and these other markets we're using as a way for outreach for constituent intakes and questions. So if you can't find us or get a hold of us during our regular business hours, you can see us at one of these events. That's after hours. And you can ask questions. We'll have intake forms there too, so we can answer questions, or if we can't, someone in the office will get that intake and we'll follow up with you. Our so that it goes for the events we've gone to. I hope to see you at the Argyle Night Market coming up. Our next initiative that we've been working on a lot are unhoused individuals and our neighbors who are unhoused. We've worked with DFSS for accelerated moving events. We hosted two this past year. The first one on June 29th. And of the 32 that participated, 27 are still housed. The others, there are different things that happen along the way that might change those stats. But June 29th, there are 27 that are still housed. And the Halloween event that we hosted, 28 participated, 21 are still housed. We look forward to working with DFSS again. We listen to constituents who reach out to us, tell us where these individuals are, and then we we form a plan to help them get them the resources that they deserve, and that's through DFSS. Yeah, that's our yeah. That's pretty much it for me and the constituent service. I know I've worked with a lot of you in the past, so I look forward to working with you again. Just reach out with any questions. Thank you.
All right, Connor, thank you so much. And yeah, as mentioned and as the slide says, my name is Jorge Van Soto. I am the Director of Development here and Engagement here with the 48th Ward. I do go by he, they pronouns, and I'm just really excited to show you some of the updates that we have in terms of public infrastructure, economic development, and small business supports, as well as development and zoning. So without further ado, if we can just go on to the next slide, I would love to just update y'all on some of our public infrastructure initiatives that we've been going through. I'm happy to share that we have continuously been sharing construction updates, as I know that's probably one of the most crucial updates that our constituents are continuously looking for. So yeah, we post them weekly now, and we're doing a better job of just getting all of the projects, though I do also understand that not every project will make it on there. So please reach out if you see something, say something. If you would like, go to Shy Street Work, or yeah, just feel free to reach out to development at the 48th Ward to just inquire about a specific project. I'm also happy to to continue the work of bringing participatory budgeting to the very first time here in the 48th Ward with the very simple question on how would you like to spend $1 million? And while it is a simple question, because it's a simple question, we actually got a lot of suggestions as to how we should be spending those $1 million. We received over 100 submissions of both repair requests and special projects. And now, with a collaboration of our city departments, our PB facilitators and our PB team is actually waiting on getting those cost estimates back. And we really much look forward to sharing those project proposals to you all and getting it up to a vote. This is the people's budget, and we believe that the people should have a direct say in how to spend that money. In the meantime, we've been really prioritizing pedestrian safety, walkability, and also just crosswalk improvements. As we are aware, if you've seen in an article previously, a lot of sidewalk improvements are really identified and addressed based on the quantity of 311 reports. But, you know, that's not good enough for us. We've gotten a lot of constituents, specifically older adults, that are really worried about the uneven sidewalks. And right off the bat, we invested over $100,000 in our menu funds to make those sidewalk improvements. And I'm hoping that you could see that proof, especially on Broadway. And especially here, we've have many improvements, but also at the same time, those pesky alleys I know are also of continuous concerns. So my infrastructure intern, who unfortunately is going out to France here in the summer, but should be back with us in the fall. We've been biking, we've been walking in the rain and also sleet and snow to just really assess these alleys, especially in times of flooding, and really identifying which alleys really do need a little bit of love and a little bit of funding. So, you know, we're really, really happy to continue this work. And yeah, you can just also be on the lookout for some overarching bike planning that we're doing here on the far north side and continuing pedestrian safety, especially along Broadway. When it comes to small business support, you know, earlier this year, we were really happy to have a small business roundtable in collaboration with our three wonderful chambers of commerce, the Edgewater Chamber of Commerce, Andersonville Chamber of Commerce, and also our Uptown Chamber of Commerce. Not only with them, but also the Small Business Advocacy Council. You know, we were really looking to address what the challenges are currently with being a small business, and especially looking at the grants rollout and the reimbursement portion of it. In the meantime, you know, we have been doing at least once a month the small business spotlights, just letting our constituents know, hey, this is a place that you can go shop. This is a place that you can go eat. And this is actually a place where you can actually do some stuff. So we're really happy to continue that work. If you have a small business that you would like to highlight, we do have forms on our website in which you could submit to those nominations. And lastly, one of the biggest priorities that the Alderwoman, especially on day one that I came in, she let me know that one of the reasons why we actually came onto Bryn Mawr is because we understood that Bryn Mawr was just in need of a lot of love and we needed to reinvigorate it through one way or another. So while we are really, really happy to welcome our new businesses here, to just name a few, Sip and Savor, all meal prep kitchen and cafe. Dulce de Leche has amazing horchata, have amazing café de olla, and also have amazing food. Also Gold Scissors and Blowfish, which actually moves right across the street. But we know that our work is not done here, and it's never done here. So that's why the Alderwoman has rolled out the Bryn Mawr Task Force Initiative. So that's probably something that you've continuously seen on our newsletter here in the past couple of months. And if you are interested, we are making a call out to everybody and anybody that is dedicated to seeing improvements in economic revitalization on Bryn Mawr. So please feel free to reach out to me at development at the 48th Ward, Jorge Van at the 48th Ward, or at any other means. You can even reach out just to info at the 48th Ward to inquire about that. Apologize, there is. All right, sorry about that. But yeah, lastly, not lastly, we do also have some exciting RPM updates to share. We do have ongoing community engagement meetings with CTA, and we also have ongoing meetings with our office and CTA to just relay a lot of the priorities that our constituents have been really asking for and inquiring about. There are going to be a next set of meetings on May 22nd and May 23rd. Please feel free to look at our 48th Ward calendar on our website or just stay updated on our newsletter. But yeah, you can see a couple of the updates and a couple of the ongoing construction that's been going on. And we're also really excited to see that there's going to be public art on every one of these stations. So yeah, just keep up to date either through our newsletter, through the ward calendar. And yeah, we are very excited to see what the next phase is going to look like and what site design the CTA in our office has really came up with in terms of what the community has been asking for. Now, lastly, I'm really happy to share that our development and zoning process, it's been rolling. With that, we've brought back an initiative that hadn't been started or restarted since former Alderwoman Mary Ann Smith, which is the Zoning Advisory Council. And also, coincidentally enough, Alderwoman Mary Ann Smith is on our Zoning Advisory Council. This is really a way to equitably represent every portion of the ward. We really prioritize people's backgrounds, people's experience, but more importantly, people's lived experience. We really do appreciate the feedback, and we do have many feedback opportunities. But really, I just want to highlight one of the big wins that we had, which was the Mabel Whistle, which was actually the first zoning change request that came through our office. They were looking to get a zoning change to reconvert the first floor that had been vacant retail space for, as far as I can remember, and reconvert it to 17 multifamily units. They had proposed initially 3 affordable housing units dictated through the ARO, but the Alderwoman was actually able to negotiate and get that number up to 5. So out of the 17, 5 of those are going to be deemed affordable, and it is spread out throughout the building actually with those 2 additional affordable units. We understand that accessibility is one of the highest priorities in terms of just like an increased housing stock and a need for an increased housing stock. And, there had been a conversation about 20% of those units to be deemed ADA compliant and physically accessible. But again, I really want to highlight the Alderwoman's work that she was actually able to get all 17 units to actually be ADA compliant and accessible. And lastly, one of our biggest pushes that, like the Alderwoman had mentioned, is sustainability. And we are really, really proud to say that the applicants at the Mabel had agreed to actually provide these 17 units to be fully electric. So, that is just part of the job that we've been doing. And again, I really want to commend the Alderwoman for making sure that our priorities are front and center, even when we negotiate with developers that are really trying to, yes, making sure that they're being good neighbors, but also that they're meeting their bottom line. But we're also really happy to see that we really push for that and we're able to get these wins. We also have a lot of exciting opportunities for you to be able to provide your feedback. Right now, 4920 North Sheridan, which is currently a vacant land, they're actually looking to build a 5-story 31 multifamily unit. You have an opportunity to submit your feedback there through our feedback forms. Just please go to the 48th Ward page and go down on development, and there you'll be able to actually give your assessments and give your feedback to any project that's up for review, as well as a public forum that we have coming up on May 21st for one of those zoning change requests at 6200 North Broadway to allow a liquor store here. So in short, I've been really, really proud of the work and some of the systems that I have brought at the heads of the Alderwoman's values, the Alderwoman's priorities, and we've been really happy to see the fruits of our labor and actually translating it to, an increased housing stock here in the ward, a good quality of and affordable housing, and also accessible and sustainable housing. So I think that's it for me. I want to pass it on to our beautiful communications coordinator, Audrey Champelli.
Hi, everybody. My name is Audrey. I use she, they pronouns, and I am the communications coordinator for the office. So I'm going to start by going over some new updates to the website because our wonderful web developer couldn't be here tonight. But if any of you know Kelly, she's been really, really growing and growing and growing the website so that it has lots of great information. So since the last town hall, we have a fully realized development section. So you can go to the development page on the website and see like interactive tables with all of the proposed developments, feedback forms so that you can weigh in on those proposals. Developers can visit and see what our process looks like, and it's all there and super easy to use. So that's really exciting. There's also lots of information like, how do I go to a city council meeting? That's all on the website. What does city council do? That's on the website. And there's now submission forms for comms too. So if you have something you want included on the calendar or in the newsletter, you can go to the website and fill out a form. And then that gets it right in front of my eyes super quick, and we can look at it that way. You're also still welcome to email me, of course, but that's a super quick way to do it, and you can do it whenever. Coming soon is a neighborhood services page that is going to be as vibrant and awesome and full and comprehensive and amazing as the development page. Again, our neighborhood services team will still be here to help you with whatever you need, but there's also a lot of self-service stuff coming. So if you are the kind of person who prefers to fill out a form, there's more forms coming for you, and just more info written on the site so that you don't have to go digging through old newsletters to figure out when your tree is getting trimmed, things like that. And then, yeah, you can just see some of the stuff that's been here for a little bit, like our contact information, an interactive ward map, which is super fun to go look at. You can filter it so you're just looking at block clubs or just looking at like where the 48th Ward chambers of commerce are and everything like that. So we're not done yet, but it is a site that's already full of awesome information and ways to, get involved and contact us right there on the site. As for the newsletter, so this is my area specifically. I'm the one who curates the newsletter that you get in your inbox every week. Right now, we are pushing toward 7,500 newsletter subscribers. I checked this morning and we were sitting at 6,674. So we're getting close. But basically, our newsletter is just full of information, important information, helpful resources, and fun stuff that we want to make sure gets in front of as many people in the ward as possible. And so we would love your help with that. If you like the newsletter and you have, neighbors or friends who live in the ward, encourage them to sign up so that they don't miss out. And likewise, we've been listening to your feedback about what you want to see more of in the newsletter. So we've been including things like Jorge Yvonne said, like more construction updates and service updates, where we're taking, with things like tree trimming and street sweeping, what we're doing is taking the city resources and pulling out the information that's relevant to you in the 48th Ward and putting those in our newsletter and putting them on our blog. And the blog, that's the other amazing thing that's on the website that I forgot to mention. If you've been reading the newsletter, you've seen us linking out to this awesome new blog we have on the website. And that's so that you can Google 48th Ward tree trimming or whatever it is and find it on our blog instead of having to go through your inbox toward old newsletters. So yeah, lots of great stuff happening with the newsletter. And likewise with social media, we've been growing our social media content and following as well, because again, we post good stuff on there that we want to make sure as many people have access to as possible. So you can see in red the numbers, those are percentage increase in our followers on each of these platforms since the last town hall. So most of our content and urgent content kind of goes on Facebook, X, and Instagram, but then we also have a lot of fun stuff on TikTok, and we post a lot of meeting recordings. Like this meeting will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube, so you can go to YouTube for things like that. And so yeah, we want to grow the following there too, just so that we make sure we're reaching as many people as possible. So you can find us there. We're at the 48th Ward everywhere. Thanks again to Kelly, because there's having a consistent username across all platforms is like a huge win for people being able to find us. So thanks, Kelly. Okay, and I will pass it along.
I'll close this out here. This is our last slide before we jump into Q&A with the Alderwoman and the team. These are just a few of the events that are coming up in the next 2 weeks. We've got, again, the RPM meetings talking about the space under the L. We've got Catalpa Avenue Plaza improvements. We've got the Broadway Armory open house. We've also got the liquor store zoning application meeting next week. In addition to these meetings, we've got our Youth Advisory Council will be ramping up this summer. The Bryn Mawr Task Force will be ramping up this summer. We're going to be continuing quarterly meetings with our block clubs and our community-based organizations. And then, of course, attending all of our public safety meetings, our district council meetings, and our beat meetings. So that is everything that we've prepared for today, and we will kick it off or take it over to Q&A. I'll hand it back to Audrey to facilitate that.
Yeah, so we're going to start the Q&A. So I'm going to stop recording and stop sharing my screen, and we'll just do the Q&A from there. And so actually, I guess I'll do both of those things right now. Stop sharing and ending the recording.